Hi friends, it's Deanna Willison from Our Blooming Catholic Life, and I'm here today with another book. I was very excited about this. I did get this book from my Secular Franciscan sponsor. So a lot of you know that I'm a candidate in the Secular Franciscan Order, and if you're not sure what that means, if you're interested, if you feel that you're called to live the gospel life in the way of St. Francis, you would begin by visiting a fraternity, attending their meetings, going to their events, and just getting to know people and seeing if you feel not only to follow the gospel in the way of St. Francis, but if you're called to do that journey with this particular group of people. If you are, you've been attending meetings for a while, getting to know people, they may invite you into something called orientation. And that's really just discerning a little bit more formally. You're going to get a book like this. Probably not every fraternity uses this. This is not a mandatory book. It's just one a lot of people use, the Secular Franciscan Journey. And so the first stage you can see here is orientation. And it's exactly like it sounds. They're kind of giving you the lay of the land, what it's about. If I can find the table of contents here, I can quickly tell you the topics you cover. So you learn about the three orders that St. Francis founded, and you kind of briefly look at Francis and Clare and some Catholic doctrine. Then when you're really, okay, that's orienting you, letting you know what everything's about. And then if you're still in and they're still interested in you, you would start your initial formation, which is inquiry. And it's going to introduce you again, another little overview. It's probably like 6 months instead of 3. The first one's 3 months. Orientation's 3 months. Inquiry 6 months. And it's letting you know a little bit more about the spirituality as well as the history of the Secular Franciscans. Then you may formally enter into candidacy. And when you enter into candidacy, there's more of a ceremony. It's really, you are a member of the order when you become a candidate, and you will get your, can I get it on film? You can get your towel that you would then wear around your neck. It's our habit. And so you're a full member. You just can't vote or hold office yet when you're in candidacy. And after a period of time, it's like no less than 18 months, but no more than 36, you may be invited to try permanent profession. Now, some people may need a temporary profession or need to take a break. There's different things that can happen there. But so I'm in candidacy, and one of the things that you do when you enter into candidacy is you get a sponsor. It's a brother or sister in the fraternity that can help guide you along your way. And so my sponsor, one of the things she's done recently is sent me a package. It had these 3 books. So I had the biography of Thomas Merton, a posthumous book by Henry Nouwen, and this one, which I wanted to spend a little more time on. And so this is why it gets its own video. And reading the title, I was like completely no idea. It's like Instituto. What is this book? And you read here, it says The Rule of the Secular Franciscan Order, Origins, Development, and Interpretation. And this is quite a chunky monkey here. This is no joke. It's nowhere near as big as St. Francis, the early documents or anything, but it's still a decent book. And it's just cute because my sponsor actually got it autographed, but she still thought kindly of me enough to give it to me. It was written in 1991. And so let's give it a look. There's acknowledgement just at the beginning. It says, both the writing of my dissertation and the subsequent redactional work and preparing it for publication in this series have been an experience of doing penance for me, a time of conversion which has brought a deepening realization of how our lives are worked out in community. A great many people have made this journey possible and helped me to bring this work to completion through their guidance, support, encouragement, love, and prayer. Among the many people to whom I owe a debt of gratitude, I can mention but only a few by name. And that's very interesting. So is this somebody's dissertation? Very interesting, right? Let's see, it's going to have acknowledgments, abbreviations, selected bibliography, the rule of the Secular Franciscan Order, including the introduction is going to be at the end. And then he's going to go into chapter 1, the early sources, problems and methods in the use of these sources, which includes 13th century sources on Francis and the penitents. The writings of Francis. 2 is going to be historical content, what penance meant in the church. And then it goes through like the Old Testament and the New Testament in relation to baptism, So this is pretty thorough. It's going to go into the primitive and early rules, the development of the rule before 1978. It's going to have, there's also an analysis of the different rules that we had. Then the development of the rule of 1978, which is the current rule we're under. So then towards an interpretation of that rule. Let's see. And then there's going to be some appendixes as well. Oh, the redaction of the rule. What's that about? I guess it's the change process. This is going to be very, very interesting. And then an index. There is a short video available on the National Fraternity of the USA's, the 40th anniversary of the rule of 1978, and just gives an overview of how and why we had the new rule. See, so here are our abbreviations. It is kind of funny because like now it says SFO archives, which has already been changed. We're now OFS. We use the Latin order that our brothers and sisters in Europe were already using. Let's see. It does say the scriptural quotations are taken from the New Jerusalem Bible, but no words as to why. I find that an interesting choice. And our selected bibliography is at the front. So it's quite lengthy. Yeah, it still says the rule of SFO. So you can tell it's an older book because now we use OFS. We just use it in a different order. And it begins with the prologue. Okay. You can see, footnote here, this is the officially approved English translation. It's taken from the Rule of the Secular Franciscan Order with a catechism and instructions. With the 1980 book, I have that. It's here somewhere. It might even be out here on the table. I don't even know. I do love that book as well. But I just find that interesting that they used it from there. Interesting. And so it gives you the rule, and then we're going to get into the sources. I don't know. This is just so interesting. I'm going to have to jump into this historical contents. Again, the footnotes are all right there at the bottom. You can see sometimes there's quite a lot of footnotes. So I'm kind of excited to get in the primitive and early rules. And some of you may or may not know that there are a number of people who claim to have secular Franciscan orders or third order Franciscans. The third order itself, of course, the first order were the friars, and the second order were the Poor Clares, and then the secular. So it was lay people who came to Francis and wanted to follow the gospel way of life, and he created the third order. So there's the official third order Catholic, and I don't know if this book gets into it. I would argue that we are still that organization. We have a papal approval and everything, but there are many other groups. I believe that the official term of what we are is canonically established. There are other third order groups. There are many groups. Some of them wanted to go back to the communal living. And so that's where you get like third order regular, who are priests, and brothers who are third order, but they live, you would think, more like the first order, but they don't follow the rule of the first order. Their rule is based on the rule of the third order. And there are many groups of friars and as well as sisters living with third order rules, as well as there are multiple tertiary groups for lay people. Sometimes they go with a particular group. So like Franciscan friars of the blah, 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 right? They may have a third order group under them. It is not the same as the secular Franciscan order. That's almost like a group attached to that particular friary. And they may be attached to that whole particular order. But when we talk about the secular Franciscan order, it is a full-fledged part of the Franciscan family. We are considered equal to the first orders, the second order, and the TORs, the third order regulars. So we are considered a full-fledged member of that family, whereas others are a part of that family, but not a one of like the big four, I guess I'd call it. And so that gets confusing. And so maybe some of that is spelled out in this book. It'll be interesting to see if they talk about the other groups. Of course, there's lots of groups from other faith traditions. There are like I think the Methodists have a secular Franciscan group. And there's some that are interdenominational, some that are non-denominational. And then you even have John Michael Talbot's group, who have the Brothers and Sisters of Penance. And where do they fit into that? Is that covered in here? I have no idea, but I am going to find out. So I hope you friends have a blessed day. I'm going to get into this. I may review it once I get some time to get in here and really read this. It looks like it's going to take quite a lot of time though. So God bless you, friends. Have a beautiful day.